Welcome to this week's episode of the Exchange Zone podcast, the bridge between sports and life, where we talk to former collegiate, world-class, and professional athletes about the lessons they learned competing that they use in their life right now. Hey, we want to welcome you to this episode of the Exchange Zone podcast. You know, the Exchange Zone, where this baton goes from one person to the other without being dropped, because in the Exchange Zone, champions don't drop the baton. I am super excited today to have one of our brilliant minds in the world, not just sports, but in the world. Uh, Jacquie McWilliams has taken time out of her busy schedule to be with us today. We don't want to belabor the point. Jacquie, welcome to the Exchange Zone.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite. I'm glad to be in this zone. This is a great zone.
Thank you. Aren't you just flattering? Listen, we don't want to belabor the point. We don't want to keep our audience waiting too long. Jacquie, tell us, you are a former athlete. Tell us, how did you get into sports? What was some of the things you did? What was your favorite? Even though that we've discovered that sometimes the favorite sport is not the one that we did the best in or the one that paid the bill. So tell us a little bit about your sports history and sports background.
Well, let me just say this. I excelled in every sport. It was just a matter of which sport I wanted to excel better in. Okay.
What
So
lucky face.
I it's so funny because my mom, when I was a military kid, so we traveled
Okay.
everywhere and always had to establish new community. I think my mom knew like to keep me active. I was bowling at 5 and I can remember crying because my ball went in the gutter. So I've
Oh,
always been a competitor. Love double dutching, jump roping. I remember my dad came home with tons of balls from somewhere. I don't know if he wanted me to be a boy or what, but I've always had like a mitt, a baseball mitt. I've had soccer balls, basketballs, you name it. I don't think I really understood what to do with that until later
okay.
when we lived in California. They didn't have organized sports for girls then. They had track and field. So interesting, passing the baton. I was always pretty fast and I was a gymnast. So I just couldn't stay within the programs of gymnastics because we moved and my parents were not leaving me anywhere to be in nobody's club.
Right,
So
right,
I
right.
think when we moved back to Colorado, that's kind of where the organized sports for girls happened for me. The love of sport and being able to play. And I love to play. It doesn't matter if it's hopscotch, James, or if it's tetherball or kickball or whatever. I just want to play and I want to be competitive. I had some great coaches in Colorado. In Colorado Springs at the time, the Olympic Training Center was there. So I always had the opportunity to go watch some of the most amazing women basketball trials. The Teresa Weatherspoon and
Oh, wow.
Cheryl Miller, like all of
Yeah.
those. I wanted to go to USC. I remember Debbie Green, volleyball player. She was a setter there. And I just thought, here I am, probably not even 5 feet yet. I'm 5'2" now. But at the
Oh,
time,
goodness.
I just thought I was a giant anyways and wanted to play. So I went to Hampton University and played. I was a walk-on my freshman year. I was
Okay.
recruited to play basketball while I was in Colorado at some small schools. I wanted to go to CU, but I also wanted to go to a HBCU. So I ended up going to Hampton as a walk on, never seen the campus my entire life. I just knew it was by the beach. And I knew that they offered me an opportunity to try out for the team. And if I made it, then great. And I made it. And
Okay.
then I tried out for the volleyball team, which ended up making that and becoming freshman of the year and all conference, all tournament. I had a very successful career at Hampton just because of drive. And I love to play sport. And I figured if I can make the basketball team and get a scholarship, then that would help my parents for real, because I don't think they would have let me or could afford for me to stay at Hampton all 4 years and have to play. So my favorite sport, and I ran track and field. The track and field coach at Hampton tried to get me to run, and I was like, that's never gonna happen.
Man.
Y'all practice too much and then you got to run indoor, outdoor, and it's like a year-round thing.
Yeah.
But always admired track and field athletes just for the endurance. But I'm a team sport girl. Volleyball is probably one of my favorite sports just because it requires all six players to have the touch of the ball in some kind of way. Basketball, You can be very individualized, and you got to be a team player, obviously. But there's just something about the energy of volleyball, even with your emotional intelligence, that makes the game so unique and special and up and down. It could be your favorite game and your worst game in a day.
Mhm.
Basketball, you can come back pretty easily. You lose the game, you be mad. But something about volleyball just drives me.
Okay, you mentioned quite a few areas, and I do want to get to them all. I'm over here taking some notes. You've thrown out some key words that that really help our audience here in the exchange zone. So let's talk about this. Let's start first with this team aspect. What is it about the team aspect that you like? What did you learn competing in team sport that you now use, leading teams that you're over or have, that you've been a part of or over throughout the years?
Yeah, I function better in teams.
Okay.
I love the dynamics of teams. I think that comes from my psychology background too, group dynamics. I'm always studying how teams win and how successful they are. When I think about like a track and field or swimming or skiing, those sports or fencing, right? That individual finesse is really important and it helps with the team points,
Right.
but it really just depends on that one person to do their part. In
Right.
the team setting, everybody has to do their part to win the game,
Right.
right? I mean, but my success is important. Obviously, the more points I score, the defense I play, the sets that I have, those assists. But none of that matters if, in fact, all the rest of your team members are not a part of it. So, running a conference, the CIAA, and a leader and a commissioner, like it's important that every part of our organization is connected to the core of what we're trying to do. And that's win. We want to win and create the best championships. You can't do it without communications telling the story. You can't do it without ops making sure that we've got the playing field. And you can't do it without governance and compliance because we need the players to be eligible to participate. So it takes the entire team for us to win. And when there's one weak link on the team, then that's where I see failure.
So then how do you build trust? And when let's we can talk about the volleyball, even in
Mhm.
basketball. And what people don't understand is the preparation or the practice that goes into making these teams successful, making these teams winners. What are some things that you do to instill trust, to put your team in position to be successful?
Yeah, I show up the way that I would want other people to show up on how teams win. Like if I'm a winner, I don't come in late. I
Okay.
don't give you half of a document. I give you the full document ready and final. Like how you show up and prepare, just like you do for track or you do for a basketball game.
Yeah.
That's why coaches practice you to life because the routine of making sure that you understand, the process and the rules of the game and the play. Like you got to know the play and you got to be in the huddle. You ain't in the huddle if you late every day for practice. So
Mm.
for us, how we prepare every single day, how you show up on time, not just you individually, but how you show up for your other teammate. Like that is probably more important to me than anything because when you show up late, you don't show up time, you don't deliver what's been asked, then that's a domino effect on your teammates. And now you're setting examples for newer teammates that think that's okay and it's not. So I think creating culture of what winning looks like and that's important to me. So this is how we win championships. Like I want this championship. And so what we present, how we present it, how we communicate it, and how we engage people, like we can all win. And if we don't win something, let's just figure out what happened. And
Right.
it's not necessarily there was a weak link. All of us
Yep.
lose, right? So
Right.
when my team doesn't do well, that's a reflection on me, not providing and developing or creating space for them to win and to grow. There's a responsibility in leadership to create culture for winning cultures.
Okay. Let's see. You're making me go somewhere I wasn't ready to go, but let's go ahead and go there. You talked about when we don't win. Uh, in sports and in life, every day is not perfect. You're not gonna make every set. You're not gonna make every kill. You're not gonna make every block. You're not gonna make every dig. And so we learn some how to cope, and that's the word I'm
Mhm.
looking for when things didn't go well. So how do you handle it now when things don't, when you uh, didn't win or didn't live up to or meet the expectation? What do you do? How do you overcome that now?
You know, when I started this position as commissioner, I realized that I'm pretty hard on myself. Like, and I was before this, but you get in these leadership roles where eyes are on you. Some people will make you feel like you're the dirt of the dirt. Like, you don't know what you're doing. And why is a woman in this role? And I mean, you get all these types of things that will really question your own confidence. It will question your own abilities. And I think for me, first of all, I'm a woman of faith. So I know God didn't has not put me in any place that I wasn't supposed to be in, even though sometimes I'm like, God, for real? Like this is what we doing. And absolutely it is. What I've learned over the years is that these challenges that I've had, whether they're personal or professional, that they really have been opportunities for me to grow professional and personal. And when I say growth, you know, managing my emotional intelligence, not taking it personal, being a better listener, um, being able to take constructive feedback, being honest and giving constructive feedback, not being afraid and fearful of conflict. Conflict doesn't have to be a bad thing. It could be a place of resolution
Right.
and an opportunity to build relationships and to build trust, right? I'd rather have a direct conversation with you than talk to everybody else about something about you
Right.
when I should learn how to address you in a way that is respectful and that we both can win. That's a win-win for me. Like we could all win. I think we just have to have the skill sets and the tools to do that. Now I've had a professional coach, I have a psychologist, and I have a great team of people, including my husband around me, to talk through some of these emotional barriers that we feel like we're losing all the time. And I have to snap out of it and be like, just like yesterday, you're not losing. Like they might have lost. It might feel like you've lost, but in essence, what you won was your boundaries. You learn how to say no,
Right.
and you learn to accept that not everybody's going to roll with you on this ride much longer. Those are wins. Those are opportunities. They feel like losses because who wants to lose family? Who wants to lose friends? Who wants to, when you've grown up with them your entire life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's seasons for everything. And sometimes family and friends and jobs are for the season. And what you get out of that, you have to take that as a personal win, a professional win for your own growth. And that's because I know what God's word says about my path.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to question him on it. I'm just going to do the best I can to navigate and use whatever I receive to be a blessing somewhere else I go.
That is outstanding. It's reminding me how, when you have kids and in sports, and everybody makes a seventh grade A or B team, and then it starts getting lighter, and then it starts getting more narrow, and by high school and varsity everybody doesn't make it. And so that's kind of the reason why we even launched this podcast, to talk to people who are part of that 5% of the people in the world who made it to,
Mhm.
collegiate or world class or even professional sports. So, and let me throw this in right now. Congratulations on the role that you have for the CIAA. Congratulations on being a African American woman in a male dominated, especially industry, with being sports, especially at that level. So congratulations to you and all the
Thank
work that
you.
you're doing there. Now, one of the things you mentioned in our early on was this idea of competition. You mentioned that word several
A
times.
lot.
It was one of the threads that and one of the threads in your answers. And so now we're a little bit more seasoned than what we were back in the day, and we can't physically do this. Well, I can't. I'm coming. I'm torn Achilles can't do things. But what do you do now to scratch that competition itch? What is it that gets you that gets you going? I mean, because the lights are one thing, and the whistle blowing is one thing. But what do you do now to scratch that itch?
Because I recognize like I'm not getting on a full court. I'm not doing a full court press. I'm not dribbling up and down. I'll make a few shots. And the funny thing is, I shot during our tournament, like just shooting around, and I realized my muscle memory because I hadn't shot a ball in a year.
Uh,
I still had the form. I just couldn't get the ball up in the air, which was crazy to me. That because to me, I'm always a baller.
right.
I was with my I would call her my niece. She came to our volleyball championship a couple of weeks ago, and we were peppering, and I was setting. Like I still have that, but I couldn't hit. I wasn't. I was so slow in trying to like I'm not rolling on the floor. My body was like, girl, you better not. My
Right.
head was like, just try it, but my body stopped me. I
Thank
think,
goodness.
yeah, I think I don't work out a lot. So
Yeah.
let me just be honest about that. I got up this morning and went to get on the treadmill at the gym this morning. My husband went before me. He went earlier, and I'm like, I can't do 5 o'clock, but I'll do 6. And I feel like I have so much more energy today.
Okay.
I'll be tired by the end of the day. I think it's really important to find those things that give you energy. When I'm with my team and we're at championships and I'm with student athletes, I'm playful. Like I'm
Yeah.
competitive then. Even with our student athletes, they know me, I know them. I talk junk to them when they come up and get their awards.
Yeah.
Like that energizes me because that's the job, right? But on the personal side, when all of that's done, sometimes I have to, it's like running a race. You have gone through all this training
Yeah.
and you get through that 4x100 and you're done. And yeah, you won or you didn't win. And then what's next? That's
Right.
how sometimes I'm like, so what's next? Like we just did all of this. So I'm really having to work extremely hard on making sure that when I'm not on having fun at work, what am I doing at home to have fun? What am
Yeah.
I doing to take care of myself here? I can't just be a Netflix binger all the time.
Right. Right. Right.
I got to get up and move. I love to roller skate. That's fun, but I hadn't had time because of my schedule. I like to read, but then I don't like to read. Like my audibles, I get sleepy because when I lay down, I'm done. So I,
Yeah.
I think we have to really work hard and be intentional,
Yeah.
James, on how to keep our lives fun. I feel I'm 56, but that's my age, but I don't feel like that inside. I still feel like I want to go out and do cartwheels, but that's not the reality, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'll modify whatever that is. I'll just motion it. So I
Right.
think,
Do a standing
and
cartwheel.
yeah, but I think for me, here's the moment of finding the joy, and finding joy for me is creating the or putting in the
Right.
boundaries that don't allow people, places, and things to take my joy.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Because when that happens, then I'm not having fun. Life feels gloomy.
Yeah.
The depression comes back. Like I've dealt with all this mental illness and suicidal thoughts, and I don't choose to go there. So saying no and being okay with that, even when it hurts in the moment, is really important to my emotional, physical, spiritual well-being. And since
Yeah.
I've been doing that, you turn 50, you saying no gets real easy.
Yeah.
But I think I'm getting seasoned enough to know what I desire and not desire in my health, to have a healthy home
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
for me to be healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's important. And then, knowing you and watching you and following you, uh, and then this idea of competition, not necessarily as it relates to physical activity, but I know you want your championships, all of them, to be the best in the
I
world.
do. I want to
Every
win
one.
in everything. Like I
Right.
want to win. Like this is silly. Like my daughter, and even Sean. Like I'm like racing to the car. Who can get in the car first?
Right.
Like just there. And sometimes Sean is like, I'm on your team. Like you ain't got to try to beat me all the time. So we're always betting, and it's all in fun. It's never anything to make the other feel shamed or bad. But I do. I love winning. I think winning is like I hate getting second place. I hate being runner up on awards with the NCAA. I hate it. My team knows it. I'm like, if we're runner up, that means that didn't put our best foot forward. And they're like, so we got another award that we're up for now. And if we get runner up, I'm just going to be salty. I'm just going to be salty.
See, see, that's that
I'm going to
competition
think
I'm
there's a
talking about.
conspiracy against us.
This is why I want to get to the competition part. You danced around it, but we know you're an ultra competitor. You just told on yourself. You gave us all the insight that second place
No, I
is
danced around that joint. I like to win,
my
period.
my roommate put after my first track meet in college, second place is the first loser. I'm like, gee, that's the way to support somebody. But that's how you
I know. Thanks. Gosh.
but that's how you think it. So it sounds like that still gets you getting ready for championships, building the team, getting them ready, gets you ready for keeps your juices um, going.
Yeah.
You talked about some of the emotional things that go on and that you're dealing with and that we deal with, and we don't take that lightly at all. Uh, how do you what guides you now? What helps you set those barriers up? When we were competing, we had coaches who could help us. Mental health wasn't a intentional part of what it was, which kind of was a disservice. But how do you set those values? What values? What drives you? I know you said you're a woman of faith, so that plays a part of it. What sets those values? What helps you establish those and keep those and keep you? The word I like now is one of my favorite words, homeostasis. How do we self-regulate?
Yeah.
How do we become a thermostat instead of a thermometer?
Yeah, I like that question. I think as I was talking to my daughter and my pastor did some counseling with her and we talk to him all the time. And it's like this work-life balance is just it's not balance. It's just, but the word rhythm, like finding your rhythm,
Yeah,
and when your rhythm is off, and it's like a pendulum, right?
yeah,
So, when you're on the high, you're all the way here. And then, like I said, you get to the end and you're down and you're just trying to, or something, gets in the way that you can't stay up on this thing. So, we're constantly on a pendulum in the industry. But I think the rhythm of how I manage my personal and professional life, for me, it's all intertwined. Like, my daughter's always been integrated in CIAA.
yeah.
My husband is integrated into like he's the first man. Like his job right now is I need you to put this golf tournament together. And he's like, what? You play all the time. So we'll get you to work, right? It's integrating him and our family
Yeah,
into what is the majority of what takes up my time.
yeah,
I think the rhythm is important. When I was playing as an athlete, my word was focus, and I use that in a lot of my speeches, right? My faith, that's a priority. When that's off balance or my rhythm with Jesus ain't
yeah,
right, then
yeah.
a whole lot of folks ain't gonna be right in my sphere. So just making sure that I am spiritually well
Okay.
is really important. And when I know that rhythm of my spirituality, I get back in my word. I have a routine every single day. How I end my day and go to bed is really important to my faith. The optimism, I'm not a pessimist. I don't give people zero and you got to work your way in. I believe every person can be a great person, and you just show yourself. So, I'm optimistic about the world, even though the world looks crazy, but my part in the world,
Yeah,
I'm optimistic on how I will contribute to the world, right? And then making good choices. I've made a lot of bad choices. I think we all make choices that we have to live with. As I would say to my daughter, whatever choice you make, good or bad, there's consequences to it, good or bad. And so just being very conscious about the choices that I make, even the decisions that I make at the CIAA, because I'm the caretaker of the oldest HBCU conference in the world, right? So in the first. So there used to feel like there was a lot of pressure um to make the right decisions, and I just know, like, God, with the faith and being optimistic, I know that making good choices is important. And then uniqueness, there's something very unique about who I am
mhm,
and who I'm not, and that's okay, like accepting that is okay. I'm always going to be 5'2". I'm going to be a woman of color. Now I got locks. I'm that, I'm
Yeah.
natural.
Yeah.
Some people will receive it and some people won't. Some people will receive that I'm a woman of faith and some people will not. Some people will receive the joy and the excitement that I bring, and I might be too much for somebody. So,
Yeah.
really, just understanding the uniqueness I have to bring in spaces and to really make a difference. And then lastly, the S was even playing volleyball, like my self confidence, my self assurance. Like I can't expect James to blow my head up, right? I mean, I would like you to, but if you choose not to, then I've got to be able to look in the mirror every day and say, girl, you got this. Like you winning. You got it.
Yeah.
Despite all the things you've been through, the circumstances, who likes you, who doesn't like you, like you are still good. You're God's girl. Like you got it. And that to me, my focus and how I align myself every day. And is this an everyday, like, am I focused? Absolutely not. I will be off balance probably in 2 days for some reason.
Yeah.
But what I do know is it can't last for more than 1 day or 2 days for me. If it's more than 3 days, I'm not really in a good space. And I know I have to go to my therapist or I gotta go do something. I gotta go work out a little bit more. I gotta have some conversations that might be uncomfortable to
Yeah.
get myself in a space where my rhythm is back. I
Yeah.
hate losing my rhythm,
Yes.
but I do.
Yes.
I was off rhythm yesterday, honestly, and this morning a little bit, but I went to the gym. I feel really good right now. I'm talking to James on his exchange zone. Those things like you got to find the things that give you joy and
Yeah.
that's going to remind you that you are much more. You are a conqueror. Like you got this. I
Yeah.
got it.
Yes. 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 And young people, so what the young people have, they do this little thing. Yeah, give us the tea. The you talked a little. You've talked about leadership, and then we're gonna get this wrapped up because I can talk to you all day, obviously. But when you talk about leadership, what are some things you learned from some coaches that you had, or some things, some leaders in your life that you've taken with you to help you lead this historic organization?
I've learned some things to do and not to do. When I worked, that's funny, when I was at Virginia Union coaching with the men's team with Coach Robbins, legend coach, won 3 or 4 national championships. I mean, I coached with the men for a year. I might have been at the time the first woman to coach with a men's team at the time. And he would say, he's like, Miss Jackie, don't worry about what I do good. Just don't do what you think I shouldn't be doing. Like, learn those lessons. And there wasn't much. He was a great coach to me. I think what I've learned from be honest, be considerate,
Be honest.
um,
Okay.
be on time. Like that's really important because your time is not just your time, it's everybody else. Be selfless
Yeah.
because it's not about you. You want to make being the point guard about you, but you need the player, you need to pass the ball, or
Yeah.
you can just shoot it and make
Yeah.
it about yourself.
Yeah.
Um, I've also learned that every player is different. Like you've got to accept people and meet people where they are,
Yeah.
right? You're on a team
Yeah.
where your coach, like that's why I never wanted to coach because I'm like, these girls are crazy. Like, I don't know, because I'm crazy. So he's coaching all these, and I did coach, and it was challenging because you spend more time being the parent. So, I had several coaches that were like dads and coaches that were like moms and aunties, even though I had a mom and dad, but they're a different resource for you in your learning and your growth about how to use sport. Like sport saved my life. Let me just say that.
Okay.
Without it, I don't think I'd be here. It gave me an opportunity to gain confidence. It was the one place that I can control how I showed up every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
as a coach or seeing my coaches and allowing players and understanding that most of us really need this space
Yeah.
to be better people and to be more disciplined. Like we all need discipline. We could say we don't want to be told, but we do.
Yeah.
We all need to be told and be checked every now and then because that helps us grow
Yeah.
and it helps gives us order and it gives us boundaries. And I think learning boundaries from coaches too. Like you got this is what you're not going to do. This is what you're going to eat. This is what you like all that regimen is great, but then after you leave, that's the piece where you're trying to learn how to have, like you said, what do you take from that to keep going? I've taken most of it.
Yeah.
I don't like working out. I'm not as regimented as I was, but I know, like I told Sean, I want to be healthy. I want to live as long as possible.
Yeah.
And I can't say that when I'm laying on the couch all day or I'm eating snacks and things that are not healthy. So
Right.
I intermittent fast. I'll do 30 minutes in some kind of activity. It might be a TikTok and line dancing. Like, you just gotta, I think coaches have just shown me like discipline is so important
Yeah.
often on the court. And if you don't have it, you can crash.
Well, you are still a coach. I don't care what you call it. You leading your team, you lead it like a coach. You have talked about time so much. Time, be on time, be on time. What is the old adage? If you're early on time, if you're on time, you're late. So
Yes.
I can see that, Coach Jacqie. So we're gonna start calling you Coach Commissioner Jacqie because you are still coaching. You're not on the court physically with players, but you are coaching teams up, and we've seen the results of that. Uh, we've seen the results of that. Couple last things. If you could tell your younger self something, or a younger athlete something, what is something you would share with either yourself or a younger athlete? You deal with them not on a daily basis, but you still deal with them at championships. So what do you or would you tell them or yourself?
That's a good question. I'm going to share something with you if I could find it here. And I said this in a commencement that I spoke at Bowie. And I remember giving some of my life stories and challenges. And if I could go and tell my younger self, and I think I said this, you got this, girl.
Yeah.
When the clouds come in, let your sun shine out. When the days won't end, let your mind run out. Each moment you have is a note to remind. Each day is waiting for your light to shine. Your dreams are like clouds that float in the sky, endless with love and breath filled with life. Let your dreams fill your mind and your head guide the work. With God on your path, fill your love through the earth. No matter what challenge may come your way, you're covered by prayers each and every day. I dare you to trust your soul and your heart and always remember you're strong, bold, and smart. My beauty, you were born to give meaning to the world. You were built to dream and you got this, girl. Like, never stop dreaming. Like, I just believe my younger self always dreamt about like little girls do. I'm gonna be married and have a picket fence, like all the things you thought. But God had exactly what he knew for me, even in the darkest moments, of when I thought that life at 10 didn't matter, James. Like literally I tried to take my little self off the earth at 10.
Wow.
And I gave my life to Christ April 1st of 1979. I was 10 years old after that. And my younger self, I don't think I could change anything except don't ever suffer in silence and don't wait till you're like 50 to recognize the pain that you have. Like you have it, but work on yourself early because that's part of the team, how you show up.
Yeah.
When you're broken and hurt and mad and angry and all, and you might be mad and angry, but you really got to do the work to get in a place where your rhythm matches the rest of the team, or you bring a rhythm that people want to be a part of it. Like I want people to be a part of my team. I want them to be on the same beat. And even if we're off a little bit, we find a way to get on the same beat together. And that's why, like, you got this, girl. I would continue to tell myself at 10, like, you don't have to wipe yourself off the earth. You got this.
I got nothing else. I'm done. So to our listening audience, I think Jacqie summed it up so well. Young, old, or not old, young and seasoned. Every day, every moment, you got this. I love that. I
Thank you.
thank you. You are a uh, tremendous asset to the world, to the community, to the sporting community, to the HBCU community. You know, I've looked up to you and enjoyed getting to know you. I'm glad you are part of our village, part of our tribe. You know, we've gone
Thank you.
back many years, and I've told you privately, and I'm so proud of you,
Thank
Baton
you.
Fish, and you got this. Is there anything that you want to share with the audience that we may have left off or may have missed? Anything you want to share?
I would just say, like, to have the right people in your aura, in your circle, like James, you know, I I mean, again, we've known each other a long time just because of the industry. And you've seen me at a all-time low too. You just happen to be the one to be there in that moment. But never no judgment, never anything but positive energy and support, right? Even if you didn't feel like you were a good ear, like you got to have good people and friends around you. I don't talk to you all the time, but I think we both know if we needed something, we've got some of the same for and good people in our circle
Yeah,
that vouch for both of us. I think for the listeners, just make sure you have great people like I do, like James in your life. Like it will carry you a long way. And those who don't belong, let them go.
yeah,
Their season was meant for just that season, and you'll be a healthier and better person with people like my friend here. So thanks for the exchange zone for allowing me to be a part of your dream. And because dude, I do believe dreams come true.
yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, yeah, and you never know. You talk about relationships. You just never know where relationships
You
will take
don't.
you. You never know what they mean. You don't understand it at the time, and then 15, 20 years later, it all comes back around, and here we are in the exchange zone. Thank you, Jackie, for your time, girl. You got this. To the listening
Thank you.
audience, remember, champions don't drop a baton. Until next time, you all stay connected. Stick.
Love you. Thank you
Love you
so
too.
much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you.